Last week, while casually opening a new tab on my phone, Google Chrome recommended me an IGN article titled "SilkSong Gives Hollow Knight the Bloodborne Treatment." Now, I didn't read the article, but there is an intuitiveness to a sentence like that, whether you're discussing the higher difficulty made by faster, more aggressive combat, the, in my opinion, erroneous categorization of Hollow Knight as a Souls-like, because let's be real, a Souls-like is just a 2D Metroidvania, and a corpse run mechanic isn't having me suddenly ask my horse to push the cart, or just the fact that the game has literal homages to the shortcut aesthetic of Bloodborne's level design. Regardless, anyone who has played both games could find a point of comparison. But of all of the ways we could compare Bloodborne and SilkSong, there is one comparison that I really wish I didn't need to make. That's right, I have exactly one problem with the video game everybody loves, and there's nothing you can do about it. But first, Bloodborne talk. Let's kick off this section with the obligatory I love Bloodborne sentiment. I do, in fact, love Bloodborne. I used to speedrun the game and got my time down to 2 hours at one point. I once had a save that was maxed out on all weapons with 99 levels in each stat. I've shepherded a friend through their first playthrough and witnessed her elation at defeating Vicar Amelia. I've styled on Orphan of Kos with Simon's Bowblade. I've made guides on how to treat Bloodborne like a Mega Man game. I relish every chance I get to say this. I love Bloodborne more than you. So let me tell you that I am so for real when I say people were not kidding about how frustrating it was to be farming for blood vials and quicksilver bullets after you hit a roadblock, completely taking the player outside of the core engagement of exploration, combat, and wondering about the lore, to instead have the player farm for a resource that is necessary to play the game at all. And I say that because games like Bloodborne expect you to make mistakes and give you the resources necessary to learn from your mistakes while staying in the game. Bloodborne lets you carry about 20 blood vials to heal your character, which means the designers expect players to be able to overcome the game's challenges with about 10 to 20 mistakes per encounter, theoretically. Admittedly, SilkSong's problem isn't nearly as egregious as Bloodborne's healing items. SilkSong's combat is significantly less forgiving, as you will spend a huge portion of the game with 5 or 6 pips of health, enemies that do 2 pips of health for damage, and a heal that only restores 3 pips at a time. Do the quick math with me. That means you are 3 mistakes away from player death. If you're at 1 pip of health, you'll die in 1 hit. If you successfully heal 3 and each hit damages for 2, that means your heal only gives you 1 extra hit that you can take. So, functionally, SilkSong expects players to play significantly more perfectly than Bloodborne. You get 2, maybe 3 mistakes before player death. More so than Hollow Knight, SilkSong expects perfection from its encounters, and this motivates the players to do one of 2 things. Thing 1, get good, because obviously you have to. Thing 2, mitigate the challenge in whatever way possible. And how do you mitigate the challenge? By buying badges with prayer beads. And this is the single flaw in the fundamental design of SilkSong. One flaw, that's all I'm saying. One itsy-bitsy spider of a flaw. Prayer beads are a currency that drop from certain enemies and one-time encounters. If you die, then you drop all your prayer beads at the location, and must survive back to that point to retrieve them. This creates a number of push and pull incentives that make forward progress more interesting. Here's the pull. You know the path to get to that spot better, and are less likely to make a mistake on your way back. Here's the push. Each run comes with more fatigue of your learned skills, and thus you are more likely to make mistakes with each failure. In one of the Souls-like games, there is another push-pull dynamic at play that doesn't apply to SilkSong. Here's the pull. Once you retrieve your corpse, you can safely return to the previous checkpoint to cash out your currency. You've already cleared the path. Here's the push. You will have to repeat the progress you just made to get back to this point. In SilkSong, there is no such thing as clearing the path. Enemies don't just respawn when you sit at a bench, they respawn when you change rooms and move between areas. Backtracking is not more safe than forward progress. Unlike with experience points in Souls games, the checkpoints between areas and challenges are not also where you spend the prayer beads. You must spend them at specific merchants, often found between or within challenging areas. Challenging areas which are huge, complex, and frequently end with you finding a punishing encounter far more often than than a merchant or a bench. To passively collect the amount of prayer beads you need from passively engaging in combat and exploration, a player must become completely immune to the urge to explore somewhere else or to come back to a combat encounter at another time, which, frankly, the ability to do both of those things when I'm having the struggles is my favorite thing about what the Metroidvania genre of games have become since the old classics. The ability to explore, to get a new ability that can be used both in and out of combat, to empower me to try harder fights in different ways, to unlock more of these worlds to explore. This is the virtuous cycle at the heart of every Metroidvania game. But there is hope, you see. You can exchange prayer beads for permanent prayer bead items that don't drop on death. All is saved. Not quite. The core gameplay and the bead strings motivate one of two possible things in the player's behavior. Thing 1, they stop caring about collecting prayer beads. If I can gather enough to buy that badge or upgrade material, or the map, then good for me. If not, no problem. I'll just play SilkSong without the map. Or thing 2, they start farming and cashing them out for a mountain of strings. If I collect 100 prayer bead strings for 60 beads each, I'll have 6,000 beads to buy whatever I want, and all I have to do was not do any exploring or interesting combat for many hours, and lose 2,000 prayer beads to the shopkeep's profit margin. When a system in a video game is designed to motivate you to either completely disengage from it, or to disengage from the core engagement of the game to circumvent it, then the system is flawed. That said, to be fair to SilkSong for a moment, this is still an amazing game. Absolutely beloved, and for a good reason. The game feel is superb, the content is exorbitant, the story and the lore are compelling, the characters are memorable, the value is, quite frankly, naively affordable. This game is, by the actual definition of an art product that expresses the full range of creative skill of the artists, a masterpiece. To a certain extent, all corpse run mechanics are doomed to end in this kind of attitude eventually, but trying to play SilkSong for the first time without a map is ludicrous. So not caring about this necessary system shouldn't be an affect I feel in the early game. But by the mid or late game, not caring as much about it isn't such a big deal. Do I want SilkSong to update or change in some way to correct this dynamic? Also, no, not really. The existence of this flaw gave me something interesting to think about and write about. I am not a freak beast at this video game. I'm likely going to play a couple hours every few nights. It's not the only video game I'm playing concurrently. I am also playing Unicorn Overlord, which is also a very good game. And because of the size of this thing, I may be playing SilkSong well into 2026, which is perfectly fine by me. I learned to slow down and savor my games back when I played Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, and I intend to keep doing that for SilkSong, because getting to share thoughts about the things you love is awesome. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, thank you for watching, and stay true.